Hey everyone, we're talking about how we can make our proposals pretty nice, customer engaging, professional. There's a couple of different ways, and it all kind of starts in settings. So you have your company info that you want set here, which is where you can designate certain company specific stuff. And then there's another place that may be overlooked, which is report settings. So this is user specific. So each user might have something different set up in here. So you want to check that for sure and make sure that you've got, the proper response information in here and that your company logo's in here, and you can even add your own signature to your proposals. So if you work in a certain part of the company that has a different logo than another part of the company, you can each have your specific ones here. Or if someone's missing information, you want it up there. So you want to check your settings, report settings, to get that in place. And then you also have these terms and conditions. So in terms and conditions, I call this the library. So inside the library, your LMN can with different sample wording that you can use on estimates to pop in at any time. You also have the ability to set up defaults. So here in the defaults is where you can say for standards or for service estimates, you can put really either customize information for each, or if it's, hey, it's time of year now, I'm going to do snow, you can make it specific to snow, pump out all your snow stuff, and then put it back to your regular year-round stuff. But in here, you have the ability to draw on that library. So the wording you've set up here in the library, this is kind of standalone, and then to make it a default so that every time you create an estimate, whether it's standard or service, then it's going to have whatever you see here. So there's some sample stuff that came in these footers from LMN. Definitely want to make that your own, and also it's opportunity to jazz it up. Now, the formatting currently in LMN is not that great, so you might have to play with it a little bit. You might have to get a little frustrated, if I'm being honest, depending on what you want it to all look like. But you do have the ability to do headers and footers, and you can wording in to draw into your defaults. Once you save those, then they're available when you make an estimate. So if you were to go to an estimate and just create something, of course, you have the ability to utilize those. I'm just going to use an example here. You have the ability to use those defaults, because then when you're going across the row here and you get to the client notes, that's where those defaults are going to come into play. So the default would populate here, and then you always have the ability to enhance it for that particular client. So if for this particular client I needed more than the default, I could add whatever wording I need here, and this would present to the client. So you have the wording for your header, your footer, and each of the work areas that you're proposing to them. When you slide over to print reports, that's where you can send that proposal via LMN. So if you want to send it on over, you also have the ability to, well, you can put a title in here too if you wanted to, just if you've never seen that. That'll put the wording in here. Hopefully you've got the logo canned in your report settings, so you've got a logo here. So here you've got the ability to then download it as a PDF. So we've been talking about, hey, what if LMN can't do all the things I want to do in a very robust proposal I want to present to my client in a nice, pretty folder and all of that? You can still download it, and maybe this is a page or a couple pages that are attached with or included in a very formal presentation that you're making at their kitchen table. There are other options in here too, depending on what how deep you go with your client or your team. But you have the option to send this electronically. You have the option to download it as it is. You have the option to download it as it is and also incorporate that into a formatted proposal that you have with additional pages, maybe telling about the company or telling about your suppliers, different options that you have there.